Permiso, buenas tardes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Andres.
Hi, Mario. Hi, Claudia. Welcome. It's a nice pleasure to see you here.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you, Claudia?
Here, calling my students to be here because they have some problems, some internet connection problems. But it's gonna be soon.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. We're going to. They can be connecting during this presentation. No problem. Okay, it's okay. Okay, welcome everybody. How are you, my friends? Hello, teachers. We are going to start a new streaming today afternoon. So we have, I have the pleasure to introduce Claudia. Claudia Rivera is our special guest. Welcome, Claudia. She's from Peru. She's a professor in the university, and she's also presenting an important topic, gamification. So teachers, you know how at the end you can ask questions, you can participate, or if you have you want to make some comments, you can write on the chat. Hello, GLENDA. Nice to meet you. How is it there? Okay. Hello, everybody. So, Claudia, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. That's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for the opportunity. That's really nice to be here with your teachers and with your friends who really wants to learn something new, or maybe they feel like they need to learn new things, right? Because they love teaching, right? So we try to do different things in order to improve our skills all the time, right? As teachers.
Yes, exactly. It is. We are passionate teachers, and we're eager to learn more. And thank you so much for your contribution. And well, you can start. You can start. So you want to use the screen now? You need to.
Yes, please. Yes. I'm going to turn off my camera just because I think that maybe I have some internet problems. This is I'm going to turn off in order to put my material. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's start with this topic. I think that I am sharing my screen. Yes, can you see it? I think.
Yes. Absolutely, we can see it.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to start with this first part about what is gamification. But first of all, I want to notice, okay, about the knowledge, your previous knowledge about, hello, good afternoon, everyone, okay? If it's possible to mention the answer to this question, okay? What is the first question that I want to do it is, what is gamification? Do you know what is that? Maybe you have an idea, but do you know what is that?
Using games in the classroom.
Okay, or games, but just games or something else? What do you think? What is the purpose of this case of gamification? What could be the purpose? What is specifically what we're going to use that? Because first of all, it's a start in marketing, okay? They start using for marketing. Yes, ESL teacher from Ecuador and from Peru too. Andres, my students are here too. So there is no problem. Yes, there are some of them. I have seen them. So thank you so much. Yes. So gamification, first of all, we have to notice this part, okay, the meaning of gamification. Gamification is the use of game design and mechanics to enhance non-game context by increasing the participation, engagement, loyalty, and competition. For example, if we remember when we were childs, in the past, we used to learn playing, right? We used to learn doing some games in a different ways. We used to be, okay, we used to be different techniques, different things in order, right, to do the most. Okay, so I hope it's okay. Yes. So gamification is that, it's to learn with games, but we don't have to confuse the case of what are the games and what is gamification, because they are not the same. To play a game has a different purpose, gamification has another purpose. So we're going to notice the difference today, and we're going to have some alternatives related to this gamification, some tools that we can use as teachers related to this part. So let's see in this case, because we're going to notice that gamification is a way to engage with our students, because we're going to do some activities, and in those activities, we are going to teach our students, in that case, how they are going to learn, but they are not going to feel that barrier, because sometimes when they learn, they feel bored, they feel that it's not excited for them, that is not, in that case, they feel that it's not so important, that it's really boring, right? For them, it's really boring in that case, because they feel that, yes, I learned, but it's maybe memoristic, for me it's not so significant, yeah, I know I don't enjoy what I do. So they decided to maybe quit from the course for that reason. And nowadays we have many tools related to that. We have many tools related to gamification. We have different games in order to use them to engage our students, to involve our students, to motivate our students. Not just like that, we can use those games in order to stop the barriers, okay, because maybe they think that they are shy, they don't want to participate because they feel no, maybe they are going to compete, because the majority of students loves to compete, especially in different ages, right? I think that children enjoy to compete a lot. And then maybe nowadays, yes, but we have to remember that in that case, we have to analyze the kind of our students, because gamification is that we are going to analyze what are the most enjoyable tools that we can use with our students. So here we have the concept of gamification is basically new, and according to Werchard and Hunter in 2012, is the use of game elements and game design techniques. It's non-game context. It is based in the success of the gaming industry, social media, decades of research in human psychology. Basically, any task, assignment, process, or theoretical context can be gamified. Yes, as I mentioned, it's a very good option for us, even though I have to mention that it has some cons, right? It has some things that are not that some teachers consider that are not so good in this case, because they consider that why in gamification we're going to use some rewards, why we're going to give it maybe a prize for be the winner. But besides, however, okay, we have to say in that case, okay, that gamification is a very good option for us. Okay, it's a really good option for us. So don't forget that, please. Okay, so we have to remember that part, right? Please don't forget to turn off your microphones, please, to continue in that case, just for the other teachers, not for me. Thank you so much. So as we mentioned, gamification comes to rescue, because nowadays we have different options, right? So if we notice, we have a different kind of things that we can use as methods, right? We can use task-based learning, flipped classroom, different approaches that we can use, but some people enjoy gamification, even me. For example, I use Kahoot, I use Class Dojo. So we're going to analyze little by little all one of them, okay? We are going to analyze them in order to check, to realize what is the suitable for our classroom, because we have to remember not all the classrooms are the same. Okay, not all the classrooms are the same, not all the classrooms has the same characteristics. So we have to take care with that, because gamification is a very good option, but we have to remember that all the time we have to do the activities in order to our students, and not all of our students has the same abilities. We have to remember the kind of the multiple intelligence, and we have to remember the kind of the styles of learning that are important in this case, right? Especially to learn a new language. So gamification is a good option, but we have to analyze previously, okay, which activities we are going to do. So here we have, as we mentioned, gamification is a process which can be used to motivate people in any field by using games, like concepts, okay? Gamifications can motivate people to learn something, to finish something, to be better at anything. Even though to buy or sell something, you can even quit your bad habits by applying a gamification. So gamification, as we mentioned, it has its origins, okay, in psychology, and they started to using in the educational field, right? So gamification is a powerful concept. So let's go here. Gamification, why, who, what, and how. So we are going to notice, okay, how gamify our classroom. We can use some elements, okay. Hi, my dear Milagros, hi. We can use elements. We can use, in that case, different things. What we are going to use gamification? We are going to use gamification because in that case, we are going to encourage our students to do different activities because they are going to connect with us. They are going to be enjoyed with us in that case. Then we are going to do who. We are going to identify characteristics of the students. As I mentioned, first of all, we need to identify, okay, the characteristic of our students, of our classroom, because if we are just going to give it to them, okay, we are going to do this activity, maybe I'm going to do Class Dojo, and the majority of them don't like that, it's not going to be good, it's not going to be valuable. So we have to notice, we have to evaluate, okay, if the activities are good for them. If some games, some LMS are gonna be correct for them. Maybe one group enjoy, okay, Kahoot, they are more kinesthetics, they like to do the activities. Maybe another group prefer, okay, to listen, and they enjoy with lyrics.com, with different trainings to gain in that way. Maybe, okay, another group maybe prefer Quizlet, and that is not bad, okay? If they prefer one thing to another thing, that is not bad, okay? But the only thing what we have to remember in gamification is that we are going to do all the activities, okay, in order to help our students to improve, to enjoy English, okay, to connect with that. Gamification has a very good number, okay, of improvement in our students. It has a very increases, okay, the learning process. Even though, yes, it has some people who mention, no, it's not so good. Yes, it has some pros, it has some cons. Yes, I realize of that. But we have to be aware about what is the real purpose of gamification and why we are going to gamify those things, okay? Because we are going to do, in that case, we are going to try to deliver some tasks. We are going to resolve some exercise related to gamification. So gamification is all. It's involved, as we are going to do as a conclusion, okay? Gamification are the games, but we're going to do these games with a purpose in order to give it to our students an opportunity, okay, to learn in a very good way, to learn in an environment that is going to be very interesting, or maybe it's gonna be an enjoyable environment, because many times you have to remember, when I was in elementary school, my life was so good, miss. Then I started to learn English in high school, and that was for me so horrible, miss. The majority of students mention that. And why? Because they have to, some teachers are so memoristic, they do the activities so boring, the majority of activities, that students don't enjoy the class, and the majority of them decided maybe repeat a course, or maybe decided to quit. So that is not good in that case, okay? So we have to try to do these activities in order to teach English, because English subject, the English language, to be an English teacher has that possibility. You have the possibility to use different things, different techniques in order to help your students, even though, yes, I know we have to follow the curriculum, of course, but we can integrate some activities. Okay, we can do that. So let's continue to this part, right? Because, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened there. Yes, I'm going to share that. Okay, 1 minute. Yes, so we are going to do this part, okay? In gamification, we're going to consider, okay, 4 things. We're going to consider, in that case, the game elements. We're going to consider the user types, okay? And we're going to consider the rewards and the motivation. So those elements are going to integrate in order to do these activities successful, okay? So we're going to consider the elements as I mentioned, right? We can make if it's going to be challenge, the level, okay? If it's going to be a competition, okay? For example, in the case of Kahoot, right? I have the possibility to choose if it's going to be individual or it's going to be as a team, right? So I have the possibility. And another possibility, I can choose if it's gonna be basic, intermediate, or advanced level, right? So I have the possibility to choose if it's gonna be a basic, intermediate, or advanced level. So that is a possibility that we have to realize according to the type or according to the kind of our students. Then we have the rewards, because if you notice when you finish, as an example, okay, the case of Kahoot, what happened when you win? You stay, okay, they put it a lot of stars, and then they say, okay, you have the medal that you are the first one. And believe it or not, the students enjoy that. I realize that, okay, the majority of students are so competitive, and they enjoy that part. Now, the millennial and the centennial, who are the kind of students that we work with them, okay, we work with the centennials and with the millennials, they enjoy the digital tools and they enjoy the competitions. They are very competitive. So that's the reason why they enjoy those kinds of activities, right? The majority of students, the centennials and the millennials, enjoy that kind of activity. And why, miss? Because the reason is they are in this globalized area, okay, when we have to compete with many people, right? All the time we compete. Even though to take the bus, we have to compete to be the first. So that's the reason why they have that feeling to compete, okay? But we have to be the guides, we have to help them in order to compete, but in a very good, okay, in a good environment in order to improve that. Yes, of course, Andres, competition and get, yes, promotes meaningful learning, of course, right? Especially in the case of motivation, because maybe as I realize, the majority of students has some problems when they feel that they could do something, some activities, maybe in an exam, okay, in a typical exam, that is like, okay, it's an objective exam, it's true or false, or maybe yes, is correct or not. So they feel a little bit frustrated, right, for that reason. But maybe if we try to do the activities just to practice at the beginning, okay, with some activities, with gamifications, activities such as, for example, with Quizlet, because the majority of them enjoy Quizlet, or we can do some activities using Mentimeter, okay? We can use some activities with that tool. In that case, they are going to feel more comfortable, okay, about that, and maybe they start to explore different things, different skills that they have. So gamification is a very satisfactory thing for us, okay? As a teachers, it's very good, it's very valuable. So here we have 10 specific ideas to gamify your classroom, right? So make students co-designers, okay? So the students, as we have to notice in this part, the student has the possibility to tell us, Miss, I really like Class Dojo. Can we do again, please? So we have to give it to them the opportunity to participate, okay? Not just to that, okay? The opportunity to participate in the way that the students are going to mention, okay, in that part, I want to do this, or maybe I want to repeat this activity because Miss, it was really valuable. And we have to give it to them the opportunity to give it their opinion, okay? They have to give to us their opinion, because it's not bad to say, I like or I don't like Miss. It's not bad, it's an opportunity. We have to remember that our students has the opportunity to talk, okay? They are the main character in this language process. So we have that opportunity. Another thing that we have to consider is allow second chances and third chances. Maybe that was an activity that the first time I tried to do this activity, and I know why my students are not so good in this activity, why they don't learn Kahoot, maybe, for example. Right? The first time, remember the first time when you used Kahoot, that was so successful? No, I don't think that was so good, because the students maybe say, Miss, it is really quick. I can do that. Miss, where are the answers? I don't know, okay? And they started frustrated, and maybe the first time was an stress, right? Maybe, but not for that, you are going to disappear that activity from your class. No, you have to give a second or maybe a third chance, okay, in order to help your students to learn, to educate your students with that game, okay, because maybe, okay, at the first time, it's not gonna be 100 successful Miss, but maybe the second chance will be better. And the third one, they are going to be so excited for that activity. Because the first time, believe it or not, always, good afternoon, always we have to mention in that case what we are going to do, right? So that is really interesting in that case. Then we have provide in-text feedback. Of course, maybe one of my students, okay, Miss, I have a good answer. And they mentioned, yes, I was correct. They feel so proud of them that they mentioned that, right? So we have to give it to them very good. Maybe some words that are going to connect, to engage with them, okay? Because in that way, we are going to encourage, we are going to motivate our students to still continue learning. Because remember, the filter factor, as we have to remember that, it's important to give it to our student a feedback, not just a positive feedback. We can give it to them constructive feedback, maybe when they fail, but we have to give it to them the opportunity, okay, to receive that in order to improve their skills, okay? Then we have create challenges or quests. That's good. As I mentioned, the majority of students enjoy competitions, especially millennials and centennials. They really enjoy the competition. I have worked with many kind of students for like that, okay? And they really like that. Even though the students who don't participate a lot in the classroom, when they have the opportunity to work as a team, okay, they really like that. And especially because I mentioned, okay, you are going to compete. Team A, Team B, please compete, okay? And we compete in different activities. Maybe we use some Kahoot, okay, some Kahoots, or maybe we practice with lyrics training or with another activities, right? And they really enjoy that, okay? For them, it's a very great, a valuable opportunity. So that's good for the students. But remember, as I mentioned before, to create this challenge in gamifications, to select the game, we have to consider what? We have to consider the kind, okay, the level of our students. Maybe we can consider the style of learning of our students, because some of the students are more visual, right? They like the picture, they like all of that, they are visual. Maybe another kind of our students are kinesthetics. They prefer games, they prefer to touch, to participate in that ways. And maybe we have another students who enjoy listening, right? They are they have another kind of style, okay? So we have to consider that things, we have to consider that in order to help our students with these games, okay? It's not so difficult to select a suitable game for our students, but as I recommend, okay, you have to take your time, at least the first 3 times, in order to connect with your students, because you have to meet your students good, okay? Because some activities are for them are not so good, and maybe for other students, yes, are really valuable. So we have to remember that we are not the same, that we have different characteristics, and especially in a classroom, we have different characteristics, but we have to try to get the balance of them, okay? Then we have the other thing, give students voice and choice. As I mentioned, our student has to give us their opinion, okay? They have to mention, yes, miss, it was good. Yes, I really like, can we do this again? Okay, so they have the opportunity to talk, because English is that, to participate in order to improve their language learning, okay? Because this is a process, and they need to learn, okay, this process in a very valuable way. Because remember, the significant learning is more valuable than just to memorize some things. Yes, miss, I remember, I memorize, okay? Listen and repeat, listen and repeat. That is really bored, right? You are not going to enjoy, you are not going to remember that. And that is the problem in the majority of high schools. That happened, the majority of high school, but not nowadays. But maybe when I was a student, right? When I was a student, in the past, the majority of people used to work with memoristic techniques, with a grammar translator method, and no more. They don't try to have the opportunity to look for another alternatives, right? They just grammar translator method. Okay, listen and repeat. And we don't have the other opportunity, another opportunity to learn different things, okay? To teach different things to our students. So that's something that we have to realize nowadays. Our students are digital, okay, are digital natives, the majority of our students. And if they are digital native, okay, we have to consider that they enjoy doing these activities. And gamification has the opportunity. We have on the web many activities for free that we can use, okay? The only thing is that we need to consider our groups, right? Then we have offer individual badges and rewards. Yes, the majority of activities has that. Then we have students design and achievement systems. That is really good, as I mentioned. Implement educational technology. That is really good, because in that way, okay, we are going to consider, first of all, that, as I mentioned, our students are digital native. So they know how to handle with this technology, and they have to prove, okay, they prove that with this pandemic, right? They know, the majority of students know how to use a cell phone, how to use internet, right? And maybe some teachers are nervous to use that, and they don't feel comfortable with that activities, and they prefer to do another things. But we have to give it to us the opportunity to try that, okay? In order, not just for our students, because we have the power. Remember, you are the teacher. So you have the power in the classroom. Believe it or not, it's not necessary to talk all the time. It's not necessary to mention all the activities all the time. But you have the power, you are the one. So you are going to decide in that case what you're going to do and what you are not going to do. Okay, so do that activities. Oh my God, please. Oh, yes, yes, my students are here too. I'm sorry. Yes, so as I mentioned, that's something that you can do. And then, well, finally, emphasize practice. Those activities, we can use those activities in different ways, right? So you can do those activities maybe as a warm-up or maybe as an evaluation, okay? Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes, don't worry. Okay, don't worry. So we're going to give it to the, yes, don't worry. In 5 minutes, in 7 minutes, we have the basic Zoom. One is limit. Yes, don't worry, my dear. So I think that I'm going to finish with this part. As I mentioned, games, okay, fun games purely of entertainment are different to gamification. Gamification is not the same, or fun games purely for entertainment, okay, are not the same, right? We have to notice that there is a difference between them. However, gamification and serious game are related because both try to lever each aspect of games to achieve something more. A serious game does it through an actual game, but gamification does it through a broader set of tools: game, mechanics, dynamics, game design, gaming, psychology. It has many things that are going to be related to this part. If we take this perspective, then a serious game can be seen as a subset of gamification. However, the prior definition explicit excludes this substance from the set of proper gamifications. That is why people are often confused between both. But let's see, in this case, the difference, just to finish, because I think that we are going to reconnect later on. Okay, so here we have games and gamifications are not the same thing. Here are very different, as I mentioned. First of all, education games. Points, achievements, and rewards are one element of the system, whereas gamification of education focus on points, achievements, and rewards. Number two, education games strive to present the right level of challenge to the player, whereas in gamification of education, targeting level of challenge seldom considered. Number three, narrative and characters common. In the case of gamification of education, in that case, may include player avatar and or wiki story, right? For example, the case of Class Dojo, you have an avatar, right? Education games focus on conceptual change. Gamification of education focus on behavioral change. Education games stimulates environment, provide player scaffolding, whereas gamification of education will apply to real environment without scaffolding. So we notice that they are not the same, even though many people feel confused about that, but both are not the same. So gamification has some things, has a story from many years, okay? It has been considered from a psychological line, okay? Many people consider that because in that ways you can use, as they mentioned, to connect with some people, to try to do what your students want to learn, to improve using those games. You are going to help them, okay, to improve that. But education games, as we notice, has difference, as we have mentioned. So that is something that we have to consider in order to don't confuse the meaning of them. Okay, we don't have to confuse the meaning, please. So let's continue here because I think you are going to mention. And this is going to be our question, okay? How can you gamify your e-learning content? That is the question that you are going to answer to me because I think that we are going to reconnect it with the link in 7 minutes maybe, okay? But we have to consider that, okay? How can you gamify your e-learning content? Okay, how can we do that? What are the things that we have to consider to do that? Do you have any idea how to do that? How can you gamify? Okay, yes, thank you so much. How can you gamify your e-learning content? Do you have any idea about that? How to do that part? Please, do you have any idea maybe? Try to think of that, okay? Try to think. Right? Try to think of that. So in that way, you are going to do that, right? You are going to learn a little bit. Please, no se olviden que nos vamos a estar reconectando, ¿no? In 2 minutes, we reconnect, okay, I think, with the same link, right? Maybe it's going to be just in a few minutes. So this is the question that you have to answer. How can you gamify your e-learning content? Okay, please, how can you gamify your e-learning content? Gamification is a very good option. As we mentioned, it's a meaningful option, right? Gamification has different possibilities for all different kind of ages, not just for children. It is valuable for teenagers. It is valuable for, or in this case, meaningful, okay, for teenagers. It is meaningful for young learners. It is meaningful for, yes, through some applications. Of course, Andres, yes, we can use some applications to help us with this part, right? We can use, and we have many of them, okay? We have many. For example, do you know one tool that we can use to gamify our lessons? For example, do you know one alternative to gamify our lessons? Not just in English, we have many more, okay? We have different activities to do that. Not just in English, we have different things. Yes, as I mentioned, okay, we can gamify with some, in this case, right? With some alternatives, such as, for example, here we have, right, a no read, okay? It is a math program, okay? Maybe if we have to do some activities related to numbers, we can use this, okay? For middle and high school students that delivers the right context at the right time, okay? So this is a good alternative because it gives to you the opportunity to identify, okay, the things that are good in our students and maybe what are their weakness. Okay, so this is a good alternative when we are going to, it's especially for math activities, but we can use it, okay, just when we are going to have maybe some math operations with our students and we want to get the result, okay, write the result in English, right? Because I do that. I always do my students, okay, 4 plus 5, okay, what is the result? I have to give it to you, Miss, a number? No, you have to give me the letters, okay? You are going to write the letters in that way. So let's continue here. That is, and that's good because if you are the winner in this app, okay, you're going to have an alternative to give it to you, right? A possibility or maybe something, right? It's going to give you an award.
Attention.
So let's continue, please, in this case, right? I don't know what happened with that. Please be careful with the audio. Okay, cuidado con los audios. With Class Dojo. Okay, let's continue in this case with Class Dojo, right? Let's continue to this part. So in this case, right, we have the opportunity, as I mentioned, to give it to our students this great platform, right? This is very good and not just for children. Some basic students like that, right? Because Class Dojo and the majority of people, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you again, welcome again. Yes, Class Dojo, as I mentioned, is a great platform, right? To keep kids, to keep parents and teachers connect to each other with a major focus on kids of younger age, okay, and of primary school. The interface is really engaging. Yes, I like that because you can choose and you can put the name of your students in order they are going to feel with the avatar that they enjoy that, and maybe we can do this activity to help them to participate. Okay, oh, you participate more. Yes, you have your point, right? And they are going to see what they are going to receive in order to improve their participation, to do the activities. So it's a very successful way to do some activities with our students, not just with children. We can use that with teenagers. We can use that with different kind of students, okay? The only thing is that you have to consider, okay, in what way we are going to use it. Then we have, okay, we're going to continue to this part to Socrates, okay? In this case, this is one of the most popular game-based classroom platform is Socrates. Socrates is a powerful tool that offers many options to teachers. It is also one of the most diverse and adaptive of all platforms, as it offers 3 different highly customizable moods: the typical question-based game mood, a mood called a space race, which is a mood that aims to combine accuracy and speed, and a third mood called exit ticket. So we have to consider this a platform that is very popular, Socrates, that is very popular in order to do different games, okay, to do gamification. This is something new that I have to realize when I was searching for this a lecture, right? I was searching for some popular activities that we can do in order to do gamifications, okay, in the ESL classroom, and I found Minecraft, okay, but it has an education edition in that case, okay? Yes, believe it or not, the majority of students that I remember from my younger students, they like Minecraft, right? They really like that, but there is an education edition, okay? So Minecraft Edu provides products and services that make it easy for educators to use Minecraft in the classroom. This is their special Minecraft version, designed for classrooms and educators. The new additions to the original game make it more useful and appropriate in school settings, okay? They host a library of lessons and activities that are available for free. And there is a vibrant, active teacher community exploring uses of Minecraft in the classroom. So that is a very good opportunity to try this tool, okay? First, remember, you have to explore as a teacher, and then you have to use if you consider that is a good option, okay? But my recommendation is, first of all, you have to give it the opportunity to the tool. Then we have, in this case, Plybrighter, okay? Plybrighter is a good platform for teachers to create and manage their classroom in game-like environment. With features like mission, teachers can easily test their students' knowledge on a topic or subject. Platform performing everything in an elegant and game-based colorful. As we mentioned, gamification is not just the game. It considers at the same time the design, the activities, the engagement. It's considered all. The games are prepared especially to do in this gamification field. Okay, so that's the reason why they consider the design, they consider the level, they consider how they are going to engage with our students, how they are going to be involved with this kind of things. So let's continue to this part. We have Sundell, that is a free website that allows to use games to support learning. There are hundreds of games available that have already been created by other educationalists. But if none of those suit your needs, you can create your own from scratch. So there is, as you noted, there is a very, in that case, a valuable, yes, you have the opportunity to try with this. But remember, as I mentioned, first you have to explore. If you consider that it has the things that you wants to give it to your students, maybe your students has the characteristics, the special characteristic to participate with that, yes, you're going to do that, but maybe no. So first of all, try to explore, try to consider the kind of level, try to consider your users in that case, if they are going to enjoy or not. But yes, you have to remember that the first time, maybe it's not going to be 100% successful, but then you have to give it a second opportunity in order to notice if it's really good, as the majority of teachers mention, or not. but this is a good alternative. Let's continue. Course Hero. Maybe the majority of you, I used to use that in the past in Universidad Tecnológica del Perú. I used to do that in the past, right? Course Hero. Course Hero is a platform all about improving learning outcome by sharing study documents, finding tutors, and asking questions. It's mainly for high school and higher education with more than, in this case, right? It has many things, but something that is important, that is good in Course Hero is that you can use, in that case, your virtual portfolio too, okay? So it has the opportunity, as they mentioned, okay, Course Hero has sought of expert and existing material, in this case, to build its online game like courses, okay, will not allow anyone to submit a course. No more about their gamified courses here, okay? So yes, that's correct. That is a very interesting way to learn. Then we have Duolingo that is very popular with our students, right? The majority of students like that. And why, Miss? Because it's not especially for English, it is for the ESL classroom. Maybe you are going to use it with another language, but it's good, it has good activities. Okay, and Duolingo is a free online language learning service with more than 80 million students, right? So yes, those are the participants, my dear. In that case, my dear Andres, please. That is the list of my students. I'm sorry to interrupt it. Okay, so let's
It's okay, don't
continue.
worry.
Thank you. Okay, so as I mentioned, that is a good alternative. Duolingo is really good. Okay, it's the biggest mobile language learning. And it's good, I like it, okay, because it has very interesting activity. Maybe sometimes it's really basic, okay, that a person who has a previous knowledge is going to feel at the beginning a little bit stressed because some things are really basic, but I consider that it's a good alternative, especially for the ones who don't have many, who don't have the opportunity to practice a lot, so they can use their cell phones in order to practice with this app, right? So this is interesting. The process of learning and teaching is gamified in a fun way for users to enjoy learning, right? So it's good. It's really interesting. Then we have another alternative in that case, right? Because we have now Quizlet, right? We have Quizlet, and Quizlet in that case is an online study app that enables teachers and students to access information to helping studies reach 50 million users today. Okay, so that is a very good alternative. Then we have Kahoot. Okay, last but not least, that is one of the most popular nowadays. Okay, this is a platform. It is designed especially to help you. Okay, you can use Kahoot as a warm-up. You can use Kahoot just at the end, right? So Kahoot has many opportunities for us to give it to our student the opportunity to work as a team or maybe to work as an individual. They have the opportunity to compete, to feel that they are going to do the activities in a better way, because as we remember, the students like competitions. So in this way, they are going to learn in a fun way, as we have to mention. And Kahoot is perfect for quick identification questions, right? So you have to select the symbol and then you are going to do the activity. So I think that Kahoot is a very nice activity in that case, right? It's really good. So let's continue here. What are the benefits of gamified education? First of all, here we mention a lot, but let's give me just to finish that part. Okay, using gamification, learners score 50% higher in skill-based knowledge and 9% higher than using traditional methods. So we are going to notice that. So gamification is good for what? Gamification is good because you are going to personalize maybe some activities, because you can create your Kahoot, you can create your Quizlet, you can create different activities your mind Minecraft, your educational version, yes, you can create that alternative, those activities according to your group, okay, the group of students that you have. Another thing, okay, it's that are valuable, are meaningful in this case because you are going to give it to your students the possibility to engage, okay, with the language in a fun way, right? Another thing is that they are interactive. They are dynamic, right? They are dynamic. They are dynamic. Yes, we can use bingo too. Yes, Catherine, don't worry. I'm going to mention too. We have bingo too. So just to finish, I want to mention this part, okay? Education is the movement from darkness to light, okay? So we have to consider because we have that activity. So I think that was all for me. Thank you so much. That's Inés. Thank you so much to all my students. Thank you so much to all the audience in that case. I try to do the best related to gamification. Gamification, there are a lot of books related to that, but I consider that the theory is good, but we have to practice with some tools and we have to explore because we have to remember that thing, okay? Education is the movement from darkness to light. So we are we have the power. So we have to consider that when we are going to teach our students. We have the power. We are the leaders from our groups. So we have to try to help them, okay, in order to improve their skills, to be better, to love language, because we are, I know, all the teachers who are here are passionate, okay, because you invest your time. Maybe it's not necessary for you to be here, but you invest your time in this lecture because you want to learn something new to help your students. So that is really important. Never stop learning, please. All the time, try to learn new things, right? That is a good possibility. In this case, not just for you, for your students too. If you practice, you explore, you try to do different activities, it is gonna be great for your students, for you, for all the environment that that we decide, right? For the world that we want. So I consider that I believe that gamification is a good option, even though we have to consider that is not all, that we have to use the eclectic, okay, approach, that we can combine different things in order to get, okay, the purpose. So that's what I think in that case. So thank you so much. Here you have, if you want to maybe to share more about different topics or different things, here you have my page, okay? I think that was all. I tried to give it to you some details, but remember, you have the power and you can do whatever you want in order to learn that, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you, Andres. That's all.
Thank you so much, dear Claudia. I find it very interesting, and I think the teachers, they are going to find it this is a important tool for our classes, especially because we are working online sessions, and also students, they really know, they find it exciting because there are, you know, when you start learning a new language like English, you know that you can use it in this in some applications like this, and gamification facilitates the learning. So Kahoot is is a good example of gamification because you can use them in I'm not sure, in maybe in a formative assessment, so you can verify your students understand a class or any topic that you presented. No, well, this is the time for the audience. If you really want to ask a question about this topic, you can do it. Okay. You can write it, you can text, or you can ask here. I'm not sure if Carmen Tadeo, you have any question or any comment about this presentation?
Hello, Andres. Hello, everyone here.
Hi, Carmen.
And
How are
first
you?
of all, thank you so much for your presentation. It was so clear, and as you were saying, it's really useful for applying in our teaching daily activities. I have a question. So I also like to use gaming in my activities, but there are some skills which don't really let me to use it. For example, could you please suggest me an activity for writing, the writing skill? In speaking, it's easier for me as same as listening, but for writing, it's kind of difficult to engage my students when I want to enroll or motivate them to write better or read better. So those skills are kind of hard for me, and I would like to get any advice, if that's possible, from you or any people here in this very important meeting.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you. That will be a pleasure to answer your question, right? For example, in my case, some of my students has the same problem with writing, because when you say, okay, we are going to do a writing activity, they start to say, no, miss, no. They feel bored. Maybe they feel that it's going to be a very exhausted activity. But something that I learned was to try to engage our students with a topic. For example, when I do in this case, the abilities, right? The use of can or can't, I try to use to connect them with maybe we talk about Marvel superheroes. Okay, they try to do that activity and my students really enjoy about that. So they start to say, okay, Hulk can run fast, but he can fly, right? So that was a good way for us to do that. And we use Padlet too. Okay, for writing activity, we use Padlet, the tool. Maybe for some short sentences, but we can use Padlet as a way to do that activity, right? Padlet.
Okay.
Yes, you can use that. I don't know if I have here. Yes, here I have. For example, you can put then just a question and your students are going to answer them, okay? What is gamification, for example, and your students are going to answer them. It is, or maybe you can put maybe the picture of something and your students just are going to write about that or to describe, right? Your students could describe that. So that is good. That is a good way to do that. Okay,
Awesome.
And another
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Okay,
Carmen.
continue.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you for your question. I noticed that you really enjoy teaching.
Oh, yes, I do. And that's why
Yeah.
I'm here, learning every day. Thanks again for your help. And Andres, keep going. I always say it to you.
Thank you, Carmen. That's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, Carmen is one of the teachers that comes every Saturday and she is always trying to eager. No, she's very passionate.
Yes, I feel that.
So you have any question, teachers or students, maybe you want to make any comment? Welcome, Hamilton. It's a pleasure to see you here. Would you like to make any comment for this presentation?
Yeah, hello Andres, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, yeah, good. Hello everyone, and thank you, Claudia, for your presentation. I've been paying attention to all your comments about gamification. It's really a topic that I want to explore more in my classes. But every time I look for ideas, every time I look, I do some research, I get overwhelmed. There's a lot of information and some teachers do it in one way, other teachers do it in another way. I'm busy. I don't have time to do all the research myself. So my question is, what would you recommend to teachers who want to do this for the first time? I know that we have used Kahoot, we have used Quizlet, and those are fun activities for students because they are highly competitive. That's nice, but those are only pieces of the whole puzzle of gamification, right? So what can you tell a teacher like me who wants to incorporate real gamification in the classroom, not just playing games isolated, but actually getting the elements of gamification in a classroom without getting overwhelmed by all the resources or all the information that is out there. Is my question clear, or do you want me to restate it?
Yes, I think that I get it, right? I think that I get it. Yes, something that I notice is that you're worried about how to use it as a first time, right? I think that's the question, how to use it as the first time, how to do that. As I mentioned, first of all, I think that you have to consider your students, because if you notice, it depends of the level of your students, it depends of the age of your students, and it depends, as Carmen mentioned, of the activity that you want to do with them. So that is something really meaningful that you have to consider. Because I mentioned for my students, they love Kahoot. So I try to do some grammar activities with them using Kahoot. But first of all, I prepare my lesson plan. Okay, I prepare my lesson plan in order to consider, okay, I'm going to use Kahoot as an evaluation, or maybe I'm going to use Kahoot as a warm-up, because you need the guide. Because if you are, as you mentioned, if you're going to do the activities just to do it, it is not going to be significant for them. So they need to receive the feedback. Maybe you are going to include the activities in the beginning or in the end, but they are going to feel the feedback or that. It's not going to be like a puzzle that you are going just to put in and then you are not going to connect. You have to do, first of all, you have to analyze your students. If they are visual, if they are just maybe kinesthetics, and then you are going to consider what is the best activities that you can do with them and to explore the different games, because they enjoy the games, right? And then later on, you're going to try to consider, okay, I want to do Kahoot, but my lesson plan is about present continuous. How can I connect that? Maybe I can create another one, because gamification gives to you that opportunity to design your activities, not just to select. You can decide your activities. Right? From Quizlet, you can decide your activities from different platforms, not just like that. And then you can do according to your students, because gamification gives to you the opportunity to personalize the activity. I think that was. And you have many books, but I consider that you need to explore, because if you're going to read all the books, we are just going to have the theory. But I think that first of all, the most important is to consider your students, okay? Because they are your group that you are going to work with them. You know what are the characteristics of that group. So that is your challenge, right? So I think that I have to recommend you that, I think. I hope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hamilton, for your clarifying your statement. Well, somebody else would like to ask any question? I just want to add you something, Claudia, according to gamification. In my experience, I also use this Padlet, no? In Padlet, I found it very interesting and valuable for my students. I remember for secondary, for secondary and for high school students, when they want to learn a topic from, for example, I can use reading, or I can use some passages of a specific target vocabulary, especially when you start a new unit, So you introduce that, and a student, for example, I label the words with different colors. The students don't know the explicit meaning of the words, but you can make associations with in one column you can write the words, the label, the color words, and they can match the meaning with these words, and they can understand in context. So Padlet facilitates me that, and I could create that activity for my students. So it was a good experience that I had with this gamification tool.
Yes, I use Padlet too, as I mentioned to Carmen, to use as descriptions, right? To describe. Maybe I put some picture, because Padlet give it to you the opportunity to put pictures too, right? So yes. I put so different people, okay, and the students try to write about them. They describe those people. So that's another alternative. Or maybe you can put the superhero, as I mentioned to Carmen, and the students try to write using can or can't, right? And they do the writing activity, right?
Yeah.
In a meaningful way. So that's good.
Yes, it is. I definitely totally agree. Yeah, you can develop reading and writing skills well. So it facilitates you.
Yes, my dear.
Okay, teachers. So, well, before we conclude this program, I would say thank you everybody for your attendance. Welcome again, teachers, and also the dear students. It's a pleasure that you come here, and Miss Claudia too, in this presentation. So I gladly invite you for every Saturday we have presentations, webinars at 5 p.m. So especially people that are new, from Peru, I gladly invite you again, Mr. Andres Rodriguez. I'm an English teacher. I invite you for my webinars. So in this case, we have Miss Claudia. Next Saturday, we have another guest. So this is important, I think, for your you need to learn more, especially a teacher needs to follow, okay, some of these webinars or workshops, because we need to grow up professionally. So I invite you to come. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you so much, Claudia, for coming. I say thank you for this presentation because it was a very interesting topic.
Thank you, Andrea. It's a pleasure to give it to you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, so I say you goodbye.
Bye.
A very good weekend and holiday.
Yes, okay, we are in holiday. Bye-bye, everybody. Welcome.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.